Chiefs fan yesterday just so that she could bother me, and it worked. So she was very happy with the Chiefs winning, even though she didn't even watch the end. She was watching some nonsense on YouTube. She was very happy when she found out that the Chiefs won, and her dad was unhappy, which is terrific. Did you watch the
Don't
Super Bowl?
I did like I don't want to lie to you. I'm more like your daughter. Like I didn't watch the end. I didn't watch the end. I didn't mean to. I just fell asleep. Like I got up really early on Sunday morning, so I just accidentally fell asleep.
Did you watch the
But
halftime show?
yeah, I did. What did you
It
think
wasn't
of it?
bad. I kind of forgot that Usher when
That
I
was that's one of the best CDs ever written, I think.
which
I
one is
loved
it? I
like
don't remember.
Confessions.
That was the name of
That's
the
what that
album.
is about. That's the 20-year anniversary of one of the most successful or R&B albums ever to be put out. That's why he did that performance. It's the 20-year anniversary. And like I'm an Usher fan, not necessarily, but like I do understand that that album was one of the greatest albums ever made. So I think it's cool. And he
It
can, yeah, and like Usher on roller skates, what the was that? Like Usher's better on roller
yeah.
skates than most of us are at walking, is what we found out.
That costume change took a while. It was a little bit devastating to realize that as you were saying that was 20 years ago, because I think that would have been my junior year of high school. So that sucks. That sucks to realize that like this music came on. I never felt so
It
old in my life. Like asking my daughter if she like, I was like, "Do you like the song?" She's like, "No, she didn't like
You
any
know
of the
what
songs."
sucks is like Apple stole a bunch of music from us. You know, like when before like iPhones and stuff, and there were like iPods or whatever. I feel
Yeah.
like I bought that album. That made me want to see. Like I'm like I know I bought that, but I don't have it, which
Well,
is
the good
super
news
annoying.
is they gave you that U2 album for free that nobody wanted to listen to.
What
So
you? I don't
was
know
it
what you're talking about. What do you
U2
mean?
or was it Coldplay? Which was it? Apple, like somebody help me out here. Apple put on they automatically downloaded either like a U2, yeah, it was U2. It was this random U2 album like maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, I don't
And they
remember
just
that.
it just automatically went on everybody's phone. It was terrible. And everybody's like, why the fuck do I have U2 on my phone right now? Nobody should have U2 on their phone. I don't. I. It's just my opinion. Sorry if you're a
Uh,
U2 fan, Felice.
Sorry if you're no, I'm not like I recognize that there's like a lot of musicality going on there, but I also it's hard to get on board like with Bono's
Musicality.
like narcissist. No, for real. Like I recognize that they're musicians, but like Bono is he maybe a narcissist? He's doing the most sometimes. It's a lot. It's a
It's
lot.
just doing the most.
He is.
I
Do
don't. Yeah.
less.
I don't know. I
Do a
never
little
liked.
less.
I wasn't a big fan of the music. Anyways,
Well, I wanted
maybe
to say really quick, I don't know, like, I just wanted to thank Ian, Rebecca, and Landon. Like, my Amazon wish list, they got me stuff off my Amazon wish list. I had a really, like, it's a long story. I kind of like take care of my dad and stuff. I get really tired and like worn out. And I like curled up this weekend and ate a bunch of like Valentine's chocolate. I did like some self care stuff thanks to you guys. And I just really appreciate it. Like, you know when some things happen just at the right time? I'm not much of like a candy eater except for in extreme moments when like it was just the perfect weekend.
what
So
kind of
thank you.
chocolate did we have?
Like truffles and mini pralines and like Ferrero Rocher, like the
Okay.
French candy. Just
Have you
really good
had
chocolate.
Have you had a
It's
Tony's
really
chocolate
good.
bar?
I don't know, but I now think I might be into
Oh
really
my
good
god.
chocolate.
It's like this. It's like this big. It's a big chocolate bar. It's called Tony's, and they have like sea salt and caramel.
Oh my
Oh,
God. Sea salt, yeah. Sea salt, okay, I do know about sea salt and caramel chocolate. Sea salt is so good on chocolate. That,
next time you're at the grocery store, pick yourself up a Tony's chocolate bar. They're like $5 or $6 for one chocolate bar, but they're massive and they're unbelievable. It's the best, in my opinion, the best chocolate you can buy at the grocery store.
The best chocolate. Okay.
I felt like if I said it's the
$5-6, it better be good, or I'm pissed at you. And
I felt like if I said it was the best chocolate in the world, somebody would be like, "Oh," and they would have some chocolate that really was better. But I'm not a connoisseur of chocolate. However, when I do eat chocolate, it's going to be Tony's.
I'm scared to ask this question, but like, so like with the RTP's rug, like I was told that story, but
Yeah.
since I'm like the newest one to the group, is there a story about your bike, or did you just used to say you had a bike? That's how this started.
I think it stems from me telling a story about my bike when I was a missionary, and that I was
Oh.
banned. I was banned from riding a bike, and that I got in a few bike accidents. I assume that's where it came from. There was one day that just like it used to just be RTP's rug, and now we've got RTP's bike. There's RTP's toupee.
Bible. There's RTP's Bible. I saw that the last week, and it was like, Jay, you need to pick me up and read me or something. So funny.
Yeah, I don't know. What did RTP's bike say?
Nothing. I just was noticing.
We ride for Jesus. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Me and you. It was a blue bike. I'm trying to remember what kind of bike it was.
I
remember
thought
it was,
all missionary bikes were black.
No, you have to buy your own bike, and they can be
Oh,
any.
so you can buy any bike. Like if I bought a pink bike.
No, they have to be. I'm trying to remember the words that they use. They has to be like muted colors. Everything when you're a missionary has to be like muted colors. Just but like your suits could only be like black or navy blue or gray, but not like a light gray. I remember one time I had an Obama moment actually. I've never really put this together, but I bought a tan suit. And because when I wrecked my bike, I ruined my suit, so I had to go buy a new one. I bought a tan suit, and they got so mad at me. They were not happy with me wearing a tan suit. It drew too much attention to myself. They said.
Yeah, you and Obama, really. You
I've
and
often been compared to Obama, and finally it makes sense. People are always like, "You're just like Obama." That's what everybody always says.
Is that really what you're
No,
getting all the time?
That's never happened once. You know who's not like Obama though is Donald Trump, and
Oh my God, it's just so embarrassing at this point.
I want to talk about the tweet.
Which
last night.
which tweet?
I
Oh,
want to talk
the
or
truth.
his
The truth.
from last night. I want to talk about.
Dear God.
Listen, every one of us, we all like to think that we're confident or, self-confident or that, like, we wouldn't be weird. But at the end of the day, we're all also starfuckers. Like, we just will all be starfuckers. And that's what happened last night with Donald Trump's truth. Donald Trump decided to truth at Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and try and extend an olive branch. Do you have that? Can you read this truth?
Yeah, I have it. Oh, sorry. That's a different one I can read later. That was
beautiful.
interesting. Here we go. I signed and was responsible for the Music Modernization Act for Taylor Swift and all other musical artists. So now he takes credit for the success of any and all musical artists. Joe Biden didn't do anything for Taylor and never will. What? There's no way she could endorse crooked Joe Biden, the worst and most corrupt president in the history of our country, and be disloyal to the man who made her so much money. Besides that, I like her boyfriend Travis, even though he may be a liberal and probably can't stand me.
I would challenge a few. I would just challenge a few things he said there. I would first challenge the idea that he was responsible for the Music Modernization Act. That was written by Orrin Hatch and Bob Goodlatte. Is that what the fuck? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that his real name? Goodlatte? That's his last name? Mm-hmm. How did I not know there was a person in Congress named Bob Goodlatte? How?
Because there's too many freaking people in
Or
Congress.
in the Senate. Senate, yeah. How did I not know this? Who is Bob Goodlatte? Ooh.
Yeah,
He
like
does
that
not look
law
like a
had
good
been
latte.
needed an updating for so long. It basically was the transition of the music industry from albums, album sales to streams, and like decided how were we going to pay artists going forward.
Yeah. I'm still just like, have you
Oh, yeah,
seen
doesn't-
Bob
oh.
Goodlatte?
No, I should check out his picture.
Good lord.
Sounds like- What state is he from? Give us some more information.
It's just He's from, I think, born in Massachusetts. Is it Massachusetts? Where?
And I'm just saying, I don't know if he pronounces it like that, just to be fair. It could be like late or
Virginia.
something, but
Virginia. Does anybody know? Does he pronounce his name
well,
Bob
you can just
Goodlatte?
type in pronounce and then type his name, and the internet will tell you.
Oh, it's not. Good. Where is it?
Because it looks like Dutch or something, like
All right,
that
well, we're
end of
going
it.
good latte, but it's.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like when it gives you the pronunciation and it gives you like letters that I've never seen before in my life. What in the shit is this? We're going with good latte. I don't care.
I'll check it while you talk.
Okay, so anyways, Donald Trump obviously responsible for a bill passed by Good Latte and Orrin Hatch, the late great Orrin Hatch. I'm pretty sure he died. Orrin Hatch died, right? Pretty sure. Utah senator gave his seat to Donald Trump. Okay, yeah, he died in 2022. I was right about that. Do you? I don't know. It says that.
Hey, it's Bob Goodlotty.
Nope. Good latte.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you. If anyone wants to know how to pronounce his name, it's Goodlotty.
All right. So it sets up a nonprofit governing agency that would create a database related to the owners of the mechanical license of music works, ensures composers and lyricists are paid a portion of mechanical license royalties for either physical. Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't know a great deal about the music industry, and maybe somebody could correct me, but here's my understanding. My understanding is that a bunch of people bought Taylor Swift's music, and then Taylor Swift's like, fuck all of you. I'm going to re-record all of my music and call it Taylor's version, and instruct all of my fans to only listen to that music, therefore bypassing all of these other people who owned her music.
Can I wait? It's more complicated than that. So what happened was a famous manager whose name is Scooter Braun, who was like
Scooty.
who was Justin Timber or not Justin Timberlake, Justin whatever Bieber's
Bieber.
manager as well. He bought out all of her music. As a matter of fact, I think her father had something to do with like selling off Taylor's musical catalog, which basically means she couldn't own her own music. She would always be working for other people. So she essentially re-recorded her own music to gain back the rights to it.
Yeah, I feel like that's basically what I said. But somehow also George Soros lent money to the buyers as well.
Yeah, and
So it was
didn't
like
give her an option to buy it. Like essentially her music was stolen out from under her.
which used to happen specifically in the music industry a lot of times.
Yes,
It's
very often.
Dr. Dre famously didn't have his music from Suge Knight. Michael Jackson owned everybody's music. Michael Jackson bought everybody's music.
Yeah, you
I
can
wanna say
buy
he owned
publishing
some of-
catalogs. Yeah, that's why music publishers, that's who really owns music, like publishing catalogs, essentially.
Right. So, anyways, thanks Donald Trump. Taylor Swift would be a nobody if it wasn't for Donald Trump, is what I learned from Donald Trump yesterday.
He's crazy.
Can you read the part again? Did he say a traitor? How did he explain what she would be if she went
Let's
against
see.
him?
Joe Biden didn't do anything for Taylor and never will. This is the funny part, really, when you think about it. He is saying that Dark B has never done anything for Taylor. This is the whole point why women are leaving the Republican Party in droves, is because the Republican Party does nothing for women. Taylor Swift very clearly said when she was going against Marsha Blackburn, it had to do with the stalking laws in Tennessee. She didn't feel safe in her own home because Marsha Blackburn was keeping laws on the books that made it easier for her to be stalked and harassed. The Republican Party has done nothing for women, and this man has the nerve. This is how he sees this.
Well,
we don't have the rights to make medical decisions for ourselves, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm the only one doing anything for Taylor. You're stripping all the rights of all people with uteruses.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us. You
He
haven't
called
done
her
anything for us.
He says that if she endorses crooked Joe Biden, the worst and most corrupt president in the history of our country, that would make her disloyal to the man who made her so much money. That's
Oh my God.
that's fucking bananas. That's an insane thing to say on a Sunday morning, 10:19 a.m. Sunday morning. That's what Donald Trump was up to. That's the guy. That's the guy that we should have running our country. The guy that demands loyalty from Taylor Swift, the woman who would be nothing
The
without
mob
Donald
boss.
Trump. Yeah.
Letting her know that she owes him. Like that's what that is. Like and as he literally brags every single day, he spent all weekend doing rallies, bragging about repealing Roe v. Wade and wondering, this is a woman who's going to probably think about starting a family soon and doesn't have rights over her own body. And then this man who brags about it, it's his crowning achievement, according to him, and then is wondering why she wouldn't be endorsing someone in the Republican Party. It's so offensive.
It was fun to watch Twitter. What's her lunatic?
During the game.
Yeah, Laura Loomer was out of her goddamn mind. She was very frustrated.
I gotta
She
review. Well, the top of the go to the top of the clip section, and there. Did you see the tweet from Candice?
No, let me pull, you were adding
Yeah,
things
like
to the list.
women all over America who have never watched sports decided to watch sports to look for signs of, the deep state plot, because that's what this whole thing was about on Twitter, was the deep state plot that after the game, Taylor would be whisked down to the field, Travis Kelce would propose, and that Mr. Pfizer, as he's now called, would propose, and then immediately after they got engaged, Taylor Swift would loudly endorse Joe Biden for president, and then their conspiracy theory would be complete. That's what they were all waiting for.
Wait, I thought Candace Taylor was boycotting the game. Did she decide to tune in?
Well, I didn't know she said. I didn't know she said
Yeah,
she was
she's-
boycotting it.
she's not
But
very
yeah,
good
she
at-
tuned in.
All right, so she said that's the fakest turnover I've ever
Oh,
seen.
I can't.
What is she talking
doesn't know.
about?
She doesn't exactly. That's what I'm trying to make. That's the fakest turnover. What's a fake turnover? Like you could dispute, if it was a turnover, but what is a fake turnover?
I can't figure. Is she talking about like there
That's how
was
the
a
deep
turnover
state
that like
watches football.
hit the foot of a 49ers player?
That's
Is
what I
that-
assumed.
Okay.
It's fake. It was a fake foot or a
does
fake.
that mean?
None of us know. That's how you
know how
watch.
hard
When
that
you're
would
a
be?
flat earther, this is how you watch sports. You question if the game's even happening. You don't.
Let me pull up Laura Loomer.
I want to
had
hear
a
what
good
she was up
night.
to.
Let me find this. By the way, did you see RFK's dumbass commercial? Well, I'm pulling
Oh my
that up.
God. Well, I mean, so just the history of that was a very famous, that was one of the most expensive commercials like ever made in politics. I think I read it cost $675,000 to make when JFK was running. And then they just plastered dumbass RFK's like head on it or whatever.
Yeah, did you see people like what's her name? Shriver? Was it Mary Shriver?
Yeah,
She's like, what the-
Maria Shriver.
Maria? Yeah,
Yes,
that's her
a
name.
very
Sorry. Look,
famous
shut up.
person.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
She was not happy.
we're kind of
about
being
it.
unclear. So, guys, just if you don't know, right before halftime, a $7 million ad aired for RFK. Now, the funny part is he claims he didn't know the ad was going to run, but literally right before it ran, tweeted out the ad. So he's lying.
Right.
He has a long history of being a liar. This
Can we talk
was an
about
ad.
who aired it? Can we talk about who paid for it?
Yeah, that's what we're. Say whatever you want to say.
Oh, were you getting there? Did I cut you off?
Go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah. The American Values Super PAC. And Felice, who is the American Values Super PAC?
I mean, I don't know what you're saying. What do you mean? Who are they? They're a far
Yeah, it
right
was paid by a
super
far right
PAC.
conservative super PAC to play RFK ad. And again, good point. Good. I didn't even connect that point that he had. Not only did he tweet it, he pinned the ad to his Twitter. Like, it's like, this is going to be great for me. And then sends out an apology after saying, I'm so sorry if the Super Bowl advertisement caused anyone in my family pain. The ad was created and aired by the American Values Super PAC without any involvement or approval from my campaign. FEC rules prohibit Super PACs from consulting with me or my staff. I love you all. God bless you. Bullshit. First of all. Yeah, nobody reached out to your campaign.
The whole thing is a lie. Like, he tweeted, he had it pinned before the ad aired and then said he knew nothing about it. It did come from a far-right super PAC. So again, the point is, and there's not much point in me, I have the ad on my phone, but it's more about watching it, because what they're trying to do, this isn't some attack ad that's like, attacking Joe Biden or something. It's what they're trying to do is specifically pull votes from Joe Biden. Like, it's an ad that ran for JFK in the 60s when he was running, and he spent $675,000, and it's like clips of his wife, different family members. It's like very nostalgic. Like,
clearly targeted at like establishment Democrats, right?
What?
Like, that's who the...
Well, what I was going to say, just let me just finish what I was saying. So it was a very nostalgic ad. And what it's meant to do is say, for people that know nothing about him, don't know that he's running as a third party, specifically for Democrats, to say, hey, this man is a Kennedy, right? It gives no information about his platform, no information about him, no information about any of his political beliefs or anything he's done. It's basically, it took the ad JFK ran in the 60s and literally cut his head out and smashed it on there. That's what it is, in order to say, hey, we have a Kennedy running him, and to just specifically poll votes from Joe Biden. And then a bunch of Kennedy family members were outraged. That's the apology that's coming from RFK. It's not to the American people. It's to his own family, who basically were saying, like, my mother, my father, would be horrified. They would be rolling,
right,
turning over in their graves, knowing that you had taken JFK's ad because of specifically his positions on and denial of science. And they're just talking about, like, our family believes in evidence-based science. Like, you're responsible for the deaths of people because of your views on science, and like what you did was wrong.
Yeah, and that's, again, the whole point is that, one, he's lying about not knowing that this ad was happening. Two, it's clearly directed at like establishment Democrats, like people who like the vote blue no matter who, the people who have like take pride in the fact that they voted for Kennedy. Like, they want that kind of loyalty,
name recognition.
They want those people who are loyal to be like, hey, this is just another Kennedy. Like, the Kennedys haven't changed, it's the Democrats who have changed. That's the whole idea behind the ad. I would imagine bang for a buck going to be one of the least performing Super Bowl ads of all time. It did its job. Like, it increased searches for RFK, increased, you can, as soon as the ad played, he had hundreds of thousands of searches for his name. And the goal is just for the low information voter, or for the voter that says, I don't, both sides. It's both sides. I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Donald Trump. And it's just looking for a third, because anyone that knows anything about RFK, you could never in a million years mistake that man for JFK. Yeah, his crew was out in full force. I got into a Twitter engagement with one of his staffers that just they were running interference. Obviously, they were staffed up, ready to go for this. To be honest, I didn't see the ad. Watching the game, I didn't see the ad. I didn't know till after. So when I was engaging with these RFK people, I was like, this is weird that, at the time I thought, like, they're weird that the RFK people are so active today, and now it makes sense. But if you go, I wound up going to his website, because one of the criticisms I have of RFK is that I think that, like, the greatest threat to the American people is a lack of access to healthcare, and he has literally no stance on healthcare. He's given speech after speech about it, and basically he just says, like, our healthcare is too expensive. I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna cut the price in half, and that's his whole plan. Like, he's like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna cut it in half. He has no real plan. So that's. Outside of, like, the vaccine skepticism stuff and his obvious capitulation to the right, and him obviously running a campaign that's just meant to steal votes. Mostly RFK just doesn't say anything. That's mostly my issue with him. He has no real policy prescriptions. When he talks foreign policy, like, he's dumber than I am on foreign policy. If you're running for president, you should know more about foreign policy than I do. That's not a super high bar. Like, you don't have to be that educated to have more knowledge than me.
Oh, and
But
it's good to notice, like, who also, like, when we talk about the super PAC that paid for this ad, like, who specifically paid for it? It's none other than a Carnegie Mellon heir, right? Like, the birds
no.
of a feather. Timothy Mellon, heir to the Mellon banking fortune, gave 10 million to the pro-Kennedy American Values 2024 super PAC in the second half of 2023. Yeah, that's where they're tracing the money back to that paid for this commercial. Another billionaire, another Nepo baby who's friends with RFK. What do you know?
Shocker. So Laura Loomer, very upset. She said, "So let me get this straight. Young kids are supposed to idolize a football player. Don't. First of all, that part. No. No, don't idolize any football player.
Is she talking
ever.
about Travis Kelce?
Of course, who shoves an elderly man because he bumped it. Like, if you watch that clip, Travis Kelce yells at Andy Reid, and he grabs his arm, and he scares the shit out of Andy Reid. Like, he didn't get pushed down. He bumped him, but scared him at the same time. This was obviously not a big deal to either Andy Reid or Travis Kelce. In the heat of the moment, it was a grown man yelling at another grown man. And
She obviously doesn't understand sports. Like,
yeah, like, it was out of line. But
I mean, he might have to run later.
Yeah.
But yeah, who doesn't scream in their coach's face or get screamed at in the face by their coach during a game? Like,
and then
that's
are supposed
commonplace.
and then are supposed to admire his girlfriend who chugs beers live on TV when her average fan's age is 14 years old. You think first of all, she did nail
She's
that
got
beer
nothing.
chug.
They've got nothing. It's embarrassing. They've
And
got
we
nothing.
wonder why the youth of America are lost. That's why the youth of America are lost, because they saw Taylor Swift chug a beer and Travis Kelce yell at his coach. Like, the amount of things people will grasp at to point to America just falling apart is blowing my mind. The Republicans this weekend have just been an absolute goddamn nightmare. They think everything is the end of the world. Jenna Ellis is posting the upside down flag, which is like the distress signal, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
on
that
a
was,
ship, you mean? Yeah.
yeah. That was in response to the special counsel being an asshole about Joe Biden. And it's like, guys, do you understand where we live? Do you understand that we live in the United States of America? Like, we're good. We're fine. Like, I know that we talk about the problems in America all the time, and it's important to all of us, but can we stop with the third world country and the distress signals? Could we stop with that for a little bit, Republicans? Like, it's just legitimate for a group who's doing nothing about the border, who that's been like the biggest threat to our safety, according to them, for the last like 5 years, until it was time to do something about it, and now they're going to do nothing. Can we just knock it off, Republicans, for just like a second? It's like 1 second.
Another thing that happened, which was funny, right after the win, Joe Biden tweeted like the picture, like the standard picture of him in like a dark suit with like the red eyes, the dark Brandon look, and then wrote, "Just like we drew it up."
I saw that. Yeah, that's so.
Like,
Laura Loomer retweeted that one. Cringe. No, Laura, that's fucking hilarious.
no, it's
That's what that
embarrassing
was.
because you guys are all embarrassing. Why didn't the conspiracy theory come true? Every conspiracy theory that they ever have, it doesn't ever happen. And then we're like, it reminded me of MAGA prophet Julie, who, if anyone, occasionally
doing
I
well.
post, she's a prophet. I mean, whatever, a MAGA prophet who gets the Lord sends her messages about, Joe Biden being taken down, or that he's living in his basement, or whatever the case may be. And how finally, because, none of her prophecies ever come true. And then, do you remember the one I showed you last? Where
Yes.
it's like her being like, oh, it's come true. And it's like, what? That's what these people are like. It's like every weird conspiracy theory fails. Well, okay, you said that he was going to propose to Taylor Swift. Mr. Pfizer was going to propose to Taylor Swift. Then they were going to endorse Joe Biden holding hands. Well, that didn't happen. So, Are we letting this go or oh no, we're not.
No,
You
you
guys
just
are
move
just
on.
not going to say any. Yeah. You guys are just not going to say anything and we're just going to move on. Okay.
Let me pull up this. I can't find this. I thought I added it. Did I not add the Patrick Bet David? And did you see Patrick Bet David on Bill Maher?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I have had to stop watching Bill Maher because he's changed so much that it enrages me.
Let me just play this clip. This is how crazy. Again, how crazy Bill Maher is, but how crazy the right is, and how willing they are to just like be wrong about things. So this is Patrick Bet David on Bill Maher this weekend.
And you better, we know what's right because it's a lot of fours. And you better, we know what's right for you, and you don't. There is no reason on the left.
Oh, sweetheart, you are preaching to the converted here. I'm always bitching about this.
Talking about the
Julie,
vaccine.
you're supporting Biden, though.
Of course, because we only get two choices. I mean, what is so hard to understand about bad and worse?
They forced America to take the vaccine bill. 70% Americans took the vaccine and they didn't want to take it.
All right.
Oh my God.
I have continuously railed on Patrick Bet David, continuously, and I will continue to do it. This guy is a fucking moron. Like, he's remarkably stupid. He says that the reason that you can't vote for Joe Biden is that 70% of Americans were vaccinated and nobody wanted to do it, and they were forced to. That whole fucking thing is wrong. All of that. Every bit of that stat is wrong. It's, first of all, it's a little higher than 70%. Secondly, it wasn't forced. And thirdly, they wanted to take it. What are you talking? I was not forced to be vaccinated. I have not been forced to be
I
boosted.
want to
I
go
don't know
again
anybody
as
who
soon as
was.
possible. I've been
Yeah.
vaccinated like 5 or 6 times. I can't wait to go again. Like, I'm mad I can't go like once a week.
It's crazy how many wealthy people, especially on the right, and then people like Bill Maher, who they have access to the best healthcare in the world. They've all the ones that got COVID got very, like Bill Maher got really sick with COVID, like really sick. But when people think that this is a real issue, 70% of Americans, 70+% of Americans are vaccinated. That's one of the lowest rates of any developed country, by the way. 'Cause we're the
And
only
there are
country-
countries who have forced vaccinated citizens. We are not
Russia.
We are
Russia.
we are not one of them. But yeah, since you guys all want to move to Russia, you guys are on board with Putin. There are forced vaccinations. So
Yeah.
you guys just head on over there where you guys can get your wish because you guys love Putin, and that's where they do forced vaccinations. This is not one of those places.
Let me just play there's like 18 seconds left of this, but like this is what happens when people have a lot of money and they don't do any research and they think their opinion is valid. This is actually the dumbest argument I've heard all week.
A lot of them.
Wait a second. When did the vaccine come about? Under Biden? No, under Trump.
No, it didn't. It came 2 days after election was over with. 2 days after election was over with, Pfizer announced it was not under Trump.
Oh.
They intentionally did the vaccine
You're right.
after the election, so they gave the victory
That's
to
right.
He's insane.
Yeah, so what's the conspiracy theory here, Patrick Bet David? That it was developed under Donald Trump, that they kept it until 2 days after the election on purpose. On purpose for what reason? What was why did they develop this dangerous vaccine under Donald Trump, which then Donald Trump got, which then Donald Trump advocated for? They made this vaccine and then they held it for Biden for what reason? For people to be forced to be vaccinated, which never happened. Just never happened. This is what's so frustrating about America is it's one thing to agree it's one thing to disagree on what something what the implications of something are. It's another thing entirely to just disagree on what reality is. And Patrick Bet David is a multi-millionaire. Bill Maher, multi-millionaire. How can people with access to this many resources get things so very wrong? That's what I've been wondering all weekend is how do we come out of that, Felice? How do we come out of this era in America where there's one side of the aisle that is just, they will believe the opposite of the data every single time. If the data heavily leans one way, they will go with the minority every single time. I don't know how you come out of this. I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to communicate with these people. What do you do with people who, when they're presented with all the data, they're like, I'm going with the 8%. Like the 8% of the data over the 92%. That's what I'm going with every time. How do you combat that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a new phenomenon we're seeing, like the battle for reality, because this is not necessarily like any longer a situation of like Fox News is lying to its constituents or, whatever. It's the other way around. These people, MAGA, wants to be lied to. If you, at any moment, you stop lying to them, they become enraged and turn on you. Like, like wag the dog used to be a saying referring to sort of like the ability of, like the government to control the media or to control different narratives, like who was actually in control of a narrative. Well, I definitely posit and have seen, like, when Fox News attempts to stop lying to MAGA, they become enraged and then they'll only listen to Newsmax. It's like, you're talking about people who want to be lied to. Like, every single statistic has shown the vaccine is by and large safe and safer than many other vaccines that have come out, especially at the beginning. And those are facts. Sorry it didn't turn out the way you guys wanted and there weren't nanobots, taking over people's minds inside the vaccine. It just didn't turn out that way for you. You're wrong, but they don't want to hear it. Wouldn't you say? I think we're dealing with a cult, a group of people who demand to be lied to, and and in service of Donald Trump.
And it's frustrating to me as a liberal, as somebody who like has done the research, that this is a debate between a conservative or an alt-righter, really, with Patrick Bet-David, and another conservative in Bill Maher. Like, I know Bill Maher is up here saying he's going to vote for Joe Biden, but Bill Maher doesn't have a reason to vote for Joe Biden. He has no idea what he's talking about. Like, if you're going to bring people on as Bill Maher, and you're going to criticize them, like, how are you going to criticize a Trump voter when you yourself are anti-vax, when you yourself believe every conspiracy, when you yourself have, like, given fodder to the idea that January 6th was an inside job? Like, it's devastating. I don't know what kind of numbers Bill Maher is doing at this point. It would be interesting to see the demographic of the people that are watching his show. But that, for me, that's the most frustrating, is to watch people like Patrick Bet-David and come up and get to argue against somebody who believes what they believe but just doesn't want to vote Republican, just like is afraid to vote Republican.
Well, and I just want to say, like, what we're seeing is like a sociological backlash. And that looks like different things in different people. Like, and I was touching on this, but there are many studies that like on this, and it's being talked about a lot in educational circles. But just the idea that there were 8 years, the reaction that we saw America have when we had an African American man running this country for 8 years, and that people lost their minds. They melted down. You saw the birther movement. Like, a lot of white people in this country said, we're a man's in charge of this country? Absolutely not. And then that was the downfall of running Hillary Clinton. It was a misguided nomination, because after having a African American in the White House for 8 years, where we were those same disenfranchised people who spent 8 years crying that they wanted to see Obama's birth certificate, were they then ready to elect a woman? Absolutely not. Like, all we have seen since that point is Donald Trump and a bunch of people on the far right trying to drag this country backwards in time, right? Things got a little too fair, a little too much equality, a little too much equity. People were rising up a little too fast. We're about to lose the white majority in 2040, whatever. I think 2040 something. It's not exactly 2040, but
I think 2043.
And all of that has led to what we're seeing are different outbursts from people. That's what's happened to Bill Maher. He was a liberal until things got a little too liberal, and then he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was just reading a great article about the billionaire Bill Ackman, who's the guy that essentially got Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, fired. And he was a liberal billionaire. He was one of the people who originally was very on board with Title IX, with things like Title IX, with affirmative action, which then kind of morphed into DEI. And he is the one actively putting in all the money he has. He's the one creating the anti-DEI super PACs and funding Vivek Ramaswamy's anti-DEI fund. That's
Yeah.
him.
I
Because
think isn't he
it's
the one
one
that brought
thing,
down
the idea of liberal is one thing, the reality of these people seeing it, like, is a whole other thing.
Yeah, yeah. I want to give Bill Bill Ackman's also the person who brought down, or was it one of the reasons that Herbalife came down, right? He was one of the most critical people criticizing predatory MLMs.
Yeah.
I believe
he used to do a lot of good work. Bill Ackman went off the deep end, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. We're seeing a social reaction to change. Like, the idea of equality and equity, even worse, scares them even worse, it was all a good thing until they saw the reality of it. And now we're seeing the backlash.
Yeah, this happens. I think it happened with Anna Kasparian. It happened here too. Like, you see the byproduct of people who claim to be progressive, they claim to be liberal, and then something hits that they don't understand. And rather than admitting that they don't understand, I think people get comfortable. It's something that I get really nervous about, to be honest. Running in the spaces that we run, like, obviously I plan shows with you every day. We're going to cover mostly liberal politics. Like, it's something that concerns me too, that I will get apathetic, or that I will get complacent. That's the better word, complacent to my ideologies and think that I know things. That's what happened with Claudine Gay. That's what happened with all these people. They heard something that sounded bizarre. They heard Claudine Gay say that, like, this is okay, but that's not what she was saying. That's what's frustrating with some of these people who get so complacent. They've learned to rely on their gut, and maybe their gut was right a lot of times. But what happened to these three university presidents is disgusting. I think it's one of the most disgusting acts during the Biden administration from our government, is that they went after three women, minority women, and they went after them and got them fired because they said what was correct. They did the right thing. They said what the law states. They were honest, and they lost their jobs. It's one of the most disgusting things. And to see somebody like Ackman, who I'm reading here now, he's also one of the people who did, like, that billionaire pledge where you were going to give half your money away by the end of your life.
Yeah, he was thick as thieves with Bill Gates. Yeah, like, he was very progressive. He was a progressive, essentially. And then completely, like, when he saw DI, like, that's literally why he unseated Claudine Gay. And it says, like, there's a good article in the Intelligencer, which is Raging Bill. Bill Ackman's fight against Harvard has made the public face of a billionaire class anxious. It no longer rules the world. And like, that's another, yeah. So it's many different social things going on at once. But I think it was a New York Times. I'm trying to find this Bill Ackman article I read because it's really good.
It's a really I'm going to talk more about it later this week as I get more information. But I spent a lot of the weekend just looking at the fall of the Soviet Union and the economic events that caused the fall of the Soviet Union, and it's interesting. Like, it's mirroring a lot of what's happening in America right now, where you saw that the billionaire class grew, or the oligarch class, or the rich class grew, and you were moving out. Like, it started to mimic, like, serfdom, right? Like, where the serfs were, although they were technically free, they were they worked at the behest of the billionaire class, or the rich class, the ruling class. And you see that with people like Bill Ackman, when that truth, that thing that they've recognized their whole life, and they said that we need to fix, when it comes time to actually fix it, when it actually means that at this point we need to take action that will hurt billionaires, that will, like, we will have to go after the billionaire class. We will have to make stark and drastic changes that will take money from the billionaire class, that's when you start to see like, oh, maybe it's
Just
a bridge too
kidding.
far
Yeah.
for a lot of these people. Yeah,
Exactly. It's one thing to say like, oh, when I die, I'm gonna donate my money, So like that whole thing they were doing of gonna give away my wealth or whatever, that wasn't going to affect them essentially. You know what I mean? That was just a
Right.
pledge they were making. That was something to make them look good, but it wasn't gonna affect them in their lifetime. But then when it comes, when you start seeing legislation, when you start seeing the rise of progressive movements where what people are starting to recognize, okay, like consolidating this type of wealth, billions upon billions of dollars, is a crime against the American people. Now all of a sudden we see people like Bill Ackman
Right.
and what they're willing to do to stop
And you're not-
themselves from being held accountable.
yeah, like they thought that the heroic thing that they were doing was by the end of their life they would give away half of their wealth. Well, that could literally be just days before. You could have your last will and testament to give away half of your wealth. But does that fix the problem? No. Like another billionaire is going to rise up. Somebody else will use that exact same system to create obscene wealth, and that obscene wealth will come on the backs of people who worked for you, on the backs of their labor. I think this is one of the interesting things as I watch the Soviet Union, the stuff I've watched on the Soviet Union, is it's interesting to see people like Patrick Bet-David who have accumulated wealth, and they say things like anybody can become a billionaire. Anybody can, you just have to work hard. The reason that first of all, not everybody can become a billionaire. Any single person could, but not everybody could. Only a few can. And I wonder have they ever thought to themselves like, is this a good design? Is it a good design of a system that only a few people can accumulate this much wealth? And how do they accumulate that wealth? You don't have enough hours in the day for you as an individual to accumulate that type of wealth. You have to rely on the labor of others to accumulate that wealth. And that's a bizarre thing when you think about like how humans are made. We're born like, why does somebody else get to own our labor? Why does somebody else get to collectively use our labor to enrich themselves? Nobody would design a system like that. Nobody would. That system, again, if we started off with our own little island, we would never design a system like that. But here we are, and these billionaires who claim that they're willing to do what it takes to make changes when push comes to shove, they're not really willing to make those changes. They're not really okay with that.
And that's the critique of like newer economists that involved in socialism and Marxism, like Richard Wolff, is just that like when we saw what happened in the Soviet Union and prior to that with socialism, it was lifting people out of poverty. But when we see the corruption enter socialism, we're actually moving back now towards an oligarch. That's what it was the rise of oligarchs and of consolidation again of billions of dollars within just a few people. And that led to the fall of country. It was a move back towards crony capitalism.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to do that?
Oh, I wanted to tell you really quick. Let's do that right now. Guys, we are doing CoinCot. We're supporting BIPOC creators through the end of Black History Month. So we are not accepting gifts. If you would like to donate to us, please just send to one of these. This is Venmo and Cash App. Tip jar is on Jay's profile, which is PayPal. If you don't have one of these, please send us a funny message and we will read them out periodically throughout the show. Also, because we don't have gifts on, please tap the screen throughout the show. Oh yeah, it's 10:21. Yeah, let's get to 75K, tap the screen, invite some Republicans. And then I wanted to, Chelsea, Political Mom sent me this screenshot from, do you know Twitter account Angry Staffer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, Political Bob wanted me to read this. The San Francisco 49ers could still win the Super Bowl if Mike Pence has the courage to do the right thing.
Come on, Mike.
There were so many funny quotes. That's a good one, though. If only Mike Pence had the courage to do the right thing, which we didn't talk about because that's actually something I meant to talk about, but I was focusing on Elise Stefanik erasing her statement from January 6th of her condemning what happened on J6. And that's when she was interviewed by Caitlin Collins. And the other clip I didn't play for you guys was Elise Stefanik essentially said in an interview with Caitlin Collins on Thursday night that she would essentially refuse to certify the votes. That literally, I think her exact words were, I wouldn't do what Mike Pence did.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have an insurrectionist in our midst who's actively saying, if there's a take two, I will do the opposite of what Mike Pence did. That's
Who is it? I know you've seen it, but who was the one making the rounds saying I basically, if I was in charge, I would have demanded that states have multiple sets of electors, and then I would have made the states sit down and debate which set of electors to send.
Oh, I don't know. Who said that?
I'll find it. Well, yeah, it's wild. The stuff Republicans are saying now. Again, what is Elise Stefanik really saying there? What's she saying? I wouldn't have done what Mike Pence did? Okay, then what would you have done? What was the plan?
Send the votes back to the states. That's what she was saying. She was going to do what Trump wanted Mike Pence to do. She was making the statement that if she's vice president, she will do what Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do. Oh, someone's saying that it was J.D. Vance.
It's J.D. Vance. Yeah, I found it.
Miss
It was
Julie.
on.
Thank you, Miss Julie. Good
thanks,
morning.
Miss Julie. It was on. Looks like what is this? Good morning. I don't know if this is Good Morning America. This Week on ABC.
I love This Week on ABC. That's a good show.
Yeah. Here, actually, I'll just play it. Here's the quote.
So you're not troubled by the sexual assault and defamation. Let me ask you about January 6th. You've been mentioned as a possible vice president for Donald Trump. Had you been vice president on January 6th, would you have certified the election results?
Oh, George, this is such a ridiculous question, in part because the law has changed here. We, of course, had
I didn't ask you about going forward. I asked you what you would have done. I asked you what you would have
George,
done.
here's what I think. Here's what I think happened in 2020. And I know you guys are obsessed with talking about this. I have to make a point here. You constantly say to people like me, why do you talk about January the 6th? Why do you talk about the election of 2020? And then you ask about us multiple times during a 6-minute interview. But look, you asked the question and I'll answer it. Do I think there were problems in 2020? Yes, I do. Do I think it was a problem that big technology companies working with the intelligence services censored the presidential campaign of Donald Trump? Yes. Do I think it's a problem that Pennsylvania changed its balloting rules in the middle of the election season in a way that even some courts in Pennsylvania have said was illegal? Yes, I think these were problems, George, and I think there is a political solution to those problems. So litigating which slate of electors was legitimate, I think is fundamentally the political solution to the problems that existed in 2020. It's a reasonable debate to have. And I find it weird, George, that people like you obsess with what I call what happened in 2020. You're so incurious about what actually happened in 2020, which is why so many people mistrust our elections in this country. We've got to do better, George.
I'm not the least.
Yeah, so that's not accurate. It was litigated. That's what people could easily understand from reading, but since no one on MAGA side has any interest in reading, it was litigated.
Yeah, I also the irony
over and over in any way they could investigate it. That's the thing. Donald Trump actually did have so much support. All of those Republicans in those states were saying the same thing. We want to help you. We want you to be able to win this election. It's in our interest that you win. It's just there's no evidence.
Well, JD Vance is you guys, it's your fault that we keep talking about it. No, the reason people keep asking you is because we're 3 years removed from this and we've seen the evidence and the evidence is overwhelming. And the reason you get asked is because when you get asked, you keep saying dumb shit like that. You keep saying things like, well, what really should have happened is we should have litigated which set of electors were the right ones. No, there's not to be another set of electors. They already did the recounts. They already did the certifications. We already did this. The time for litigating different electors, the time for litigating this has passed. That's the whole point. The states have gone through the process. I don't know what